The Chicago White Sox were in split squad action on Wednesday afternoon, and they lost both of their games. Not a great showing from the offense in either game, but Mike Clevinger had a pretty good pitching line. I had an opportunity to try out some of the new food options that will be available at the ballpark this season, and you will once again eat well when attending a White Sox game. Also, injury updates and what was Luis Robert Jr.'s World Baseball Classic experience like, and how did it prepare him for the 2023 White Sox season?
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, welcome back to Locked On White Sox. We are 1 week away from opening day. Our Chicago White Sox head to Houston, take on the Astros for a 4-game series to kick things off. Hey, appreciate you continuing to pass along this podcast to other White Sox fans in your life. Get those questions and comments into lockedonsox@gmail.com. Our White Sox this spring are 10-11 with a few ties. I'll get to that split squad action in a little bit from Wednesday. It was media day at Sox Park on Wednesday. I had an opportunity to head over to the ballpark, try out some of the new food offerings for 2023, and get a sneak peek at the upcoming stadium giveaways up close and personal. The Dylan Cease bobblehead, that's my favorite. The talking Eloy Jimenez bobblehead, and the Luis Robert in that City Connect Southside jersey, looking sharp. The Hawaiian shirt, folks, this one might be an actual Hawaiian shirt, not just a graphic shirt. Looked really good. The hockey jersey, the 83 logo, liking that. Boy, they had that 1993 sweatshirt. It's the 30th anniversary of the 93 division championship team, and that sweatshirt's going to be an April giveaway. Got some great stuff coming up this season, all of it looking really nice, and had an opportunity to try some of the new food. There are 28 different options this season, just some really good stuff, and then they're all over the ballpark. Usually some of the real nice stuff is up at the suites or the club level, but hey, 500 level, 100 level, there are options. Didn't get to go up to the 500 level bars. Those are still actually under construction, not finished yet. Should be ready by the season opener. So Blue Moon Balcony is the name of one of them up at the 500 level, and then Miller High Life Sky Lounge. But there are some unique food options in both of those venues. In the Blue Moon Balcony, you've got the Belgian Banger, a half-pound spicy Polish sausage and a Bavarian pretzel bun. And in the Miller High Life Sky Lounge, you've got the Champagne of Dogs, half-pound Vienna beef foot-long frank served on a brioche bun and topped with champagne relish and habanero mustard. One of the favorite things that I tried on Wednesday was the chorizo mac. They've got that mac and cheese stand on the 100 level. It's also available up at the 500 level. The chorizo mac, absolutely outstanding. Had a classic cheesesteak. That's going to be 100 level and 500 level. The elote corn dog, folks, this was amazing. That's again both 500 level and 100 level. Hot honey chicken loaded fries. I didn't get a chance to try those. I had too many elote corn dogs, but the chicken loaded fries again, 100 level and 500 level. Colossal potato wedges. Those were great. Those are just going to be in the sweets. And then the pan-seared pierogies, that's at the sweet level. And a ton of new options to drink. You've got Funky Town Brewery, Magner's Irish Cider available, Obscurity Brewing, On Tour Brewing, Pilot Project Brewing, and Voodoo Brewing Company. Those were some of the new breweries that will be available in 2023. A great event. You're always going to eat well. You're going to pay for it, but you're going to eat well when you go to a White Sox game. And scattered all throughout the ballpark, every year they roll out some new stuff. I know Rainbow Cone coming to White Sox Stadium last year. That was a big deal. So there's just, there's so many different varieties, and, the creativity I love. The chorizo mac, can't say enough about that. I went up for a few helpings of that. So a wonderful event at the ballpark, get you excited for the season. Got to see some of those promos and stadium giveaways, and of course, all the new food. It is happening. The countdown is here for that home opener. Hopefully just some good weather. Split squad on Wednesday. Sox lost both games. Let's talk about this Royals game. I was able to watch that. 4-3. Royals beat the Sox. Davis Martin on the hill, and Davis Martin was kind of in a groove, and then he just fell apart in the fourth inning. He hit two batters, gave up a home run in the inning. There was a lot of other action on the base paths from the Royals. Found it kind of interesting, and they were stealing some bases on Martin. And Darren Jackson, he had some interesting stuff. He was talking about opponents wanting to run after an event happens. So if you got hit by a pitch, you probably want to run. If maybe you just had a double, maybe you want to sneak to third, and a pitcher is so distracted with what happened. They're in their head still. I can't believe I hit that guy. I was ahead in the count, or I can't believe I gave up that double, or I can't believe I gave up that single. I had two strikes on that guy, and they're still in their head, and opposition takes advantage of that, and just something to watch. Being mindful on the mound as a pitcher. You still have to hold a runner on, and I think that is also communication, catcher, pitcher, and your infielders. So something to think about and just to be aware of. But Martin had a rough go of it. His final line: 4 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts. He gave up 2 home runs on Wednesday. His spring ERA, 5.25. Sox used Olson, Avila, Cronin, and Navarro after Martin. Martin was the only Sox pitcher to allow a hit, a run, and a walk. All in all, Sox used 5 pitchers, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, a walk, and struck out 10 Kansas City Royals. Sox offense, 3 runs, 6 hits. 2 of those 6 hits were extra base hits. White Sox struck out 13 times and only drew 1 walk against the Royals. Eloy Jimenez was back in action, which was great to see. He was 0 for 2 with a strikeout, but he was out there. And Sox were 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. In that other game that was going on Wednesday, it was against the Rangers. White Sox lost to Texas 2-0. Mike Clevinger had the start. Not a bad final line. 5 innings, only 3 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, 3 strikeouts, and a home run. Lopez, Ruiz, and Lambert came in after Clevinger. Ruiz was the only other White Sox pitcher to give up a run. Sox pitching walked 3 and struck out 4 batters. Not much going on in terms of offense at all for the White Sox. 0 runs, 5 hits, 2 extra base hits. Oscar Colas and Zavala each had a double. Garcia, the legend, Leury Garcia, was back in the lineup. He was 1 for 3. Sox were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Thankfully, it's just spring still. A few updates on some of the White Sox injuries, as well as some details on Garrett Crochet's recovery and Luis Roberts' World Baseball experience. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images of seat views, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concert, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. How about some injury updates? We're getting to that point where, some of these starters, some of these guys that were going to be in that starting lineup in Houston, I would imagine might get some days off, especially next week, leading into that last spring training game. We'll see. I'm wondering if Pedro Grifol, kind of sets what his starting lineup is going to be, maybe for a few games in a row, 2 or 3, and then might give, the starters a couple days off. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if they're going to play in that last game, but we'll see. Yoan Moncada, he's still dealing with this rib contusion. Expected return is March 23rd. If he were here and we had to play this game and it meant something, he'd play today, said Grifol, who texted Moncada after the game on March 19th. He's good. He's going to be good. I don't know how encouraging that is, but it sounds like it's not a huge deal. Andrew Vaughn, lower back tightness. He is day-to-day. And right-hand pitcher Matt Foster, haven't heard about this. This is the first time, I guess. Forearm strain, expected return, TBD. Foster has not pitched since March 5th when he threw a scoreless inning against the Dodgers. Foster had made 3 scoreless appearances during spring training, and the White Sox hope to know more about Foster's timeline by the end of camp. And then Garrett Crochet, returning from Tommy John surgery, expected return mid-May. We are going to need him in the bullpen, and hopefully when we get him back, he is all systems go. The left-hander continues to take steps in his return from Tommy John surgery. I'm progressing as expected. Garrett Crochet told the Chicago Tribune last week, on track as far as I'm aware for the target date. I've been feeling good so far. At the start of camp, general manager Rick Hahn said Crochet would not appear in any Cactus League games. However, we suspect he'll be on a rehab assignment sometime in April, Rick Hahn added, with the possibility of rejoining the club if everything goes smoothly sometime in approximately mid-May. As is usually the case, we'll have a firmer grasp on his timeline once he's out on a rehab assignment. Crochet threw a bullpen session Tuesday at Camelback Ranch. Gradually sharpening tools in my bullpens, Crochet said, getting a little bit more crisp and repeating my delivery very well. Feeling good. He's been really impressive, and he's bigger than I thought he was, Pedro Grifol said. He's a monster, 6'6", 230 pounds. He looks really good and strong. That was Lamont Pope of the story in the Chicago Trib. World Baseball Classic is over, as I'm sure you're aware. Japan defeated the United States. Shohei Ohtani was awarded the MVP of the whole event. And Yohan Moncada was named the third baseman of choice for the 2023 All-World Baseball Classic team. Just got to keep him healthy. Luis Robert had a pretty positive experience on the World Baseball Classic. Lamont Pope also had this in the Trib. Robert slashed 259, 286, 296 with one double and 4 RBIs in 6 games, going 7 for 27. And most importantly, assuming he's healthy, Robert also believes the World Baseball Classic has helped him prepare for the 2023 White Sox season. There, you have no time. I was able to play night games, 9 innings every game. That is something you don't do here, meaning, of course, Glendale, Arizona. The intensity and the urgency of the games, yes, definitely, that helped me. That helped everybody who participated in the tournament compared to what you usually do in Arizona. It just felt different because you are representing your country and you know that your whole country is watching and supporting you. It was the first time in 6 years we had this event. The weight you have on your shoulders is bigger because it's your country. Hopefully, I'm going to have a healthy season and won't have any trouble. Thus far, I feel good and don't feel I need to change anything. This is what Grifol had to say. Luis is Luis. He's a dynamic talent. So just watch him move around out there in center field is really special for me to see. Grifol noted similarities between Robert and former Kansas City Royals and Milwaukee Brewers center fielder Lorenzo Cain. The way they move out there in center field is very similar, which is special. Grifol said he'll bring a little bit of everything to us. Always interesting to hear what the enemies are saying about the White Sox. Additional input from the Cleveland Guardians fan base. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets. If your first bet doesn't win, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets back when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. So there were some more predictions rolling in on Wednesday. This from our network. Locked On Network made some baseball predictions and ranked all teams in the MLB. The network ranked the White Sox number 16 in all of baseball, behind the Guardians and the Twins. I do believe that will change as the season rolls on because I feel our White Sox will win the AL Central. Now, went to an article. This is an affiliate of SB Nation, a Cleveland Guardians community called Covering the Corner. And they did 2023 predictions for the White Sox. So it's kind of interesting to read and learn a little bit more about what Cleveland thinks of our White Sox team. The article was by Chris Davies. And this is what Davies had to say. The Chicago White Sox needed a win this offseason after coming into the previous season heavily favored to win the division. They limped away with a .500 record, and owner Jerry Reinsdorf had to fire his friend as manager. So it was important for the front office to generate some positivity going into 2023. At first, the Sox seemed to be doing what was needed. The early offseason featured some good things like signing Andrew Benintendi and installing Pedro Grifol as manager. Benintendi, of course, is a known quantity and generated goodwill on his own. Grifol, on the other hand, was a bit more mysterious, though quotes like this from Ned Yost surely help. He understands what made baseball the national pastime for over 100 years, but he also understands the new part of the game, the analytical part that can take players to a little bit of a different level if they can execute. But then the White Sox signed Mike Clevinger, who was accused of domestic violence. Even though MLB closed its investigation with no punishment for Clevinger, the situation left a black mark on the White Sox offseason and engendered no sympathy toward the team. And this is the prediction from this Cleveland website here on what the bench is going to look like for the White Sox. Seby Zavala, Gavin Sheets, the legend, Lurie Garcia, and Jake Berger. Pretty interesting prediction there. The article continues from Davies. 1 through 5, the White Sox have a top-notch rotation. Cease has ace-like stuff. Lynn was top 6 in Cy Young voting 2019 to 2021. Giolito was up and down often, but generally an exceptional middle of the rotation arm. Michael Kopech isn't what he was pre-surgery, but still has MLB quality, and Clevinger will be looking to prove he's more than an off-field distraction if he is healthy. Without closer Liam Hendriks, however, the White Sox bullpen looks suspect. There are useful guys like Joe Kelly and Ronaldo Lopez among them, but until someone steps up and wows, there could be a fall off in quality when the White Sox starters exit. Whether Cease figures it out, this referring to that rough start against the Royals a few weeks ago, or has been figured out, is the storyline to watch and could be another big determining factor in how the White Sox fare in 2023. So I think Davies makes some interesting points there. The bullpen is a big question mark for me. Got to get Garrett Crochet back sooner the better. And, some encouraging news has bubbled up on Liam Hendriks. I know Lance Lynn made some quotes recently on A.J. Brzezinski's new show that, as soon as Hendriks gets cleared, he wants to be right back at the team. Lance Lynn threw out a date about June 1st. I don't know if you can really put any weight into that, but all signs are encouraging for what Liam Hendriks is going through. And it sure seems positive for Garrett Crochet. But, these first 2 months, April, May, starting pitchers are still getting their legs. I think we're going to rely on our bullpen heavily. I think guys like Ronaldo Lopez are going to be huge. If it is closer by committee, we'll see about that. I would love for them to kind of pick a guy so they can get into that mentality, which is a different mentality. You have that closer mentality. You might not be able to survive in other innings. We saw that with Craig Kimbrell. I think that was the issue there, although there was probably a lot of other issues. So, yes, I think there's question marks with our bullpen for sure. Now, the Cease blurb is kind of interesting because I've had these conversations with folks over the last weeks and months throughout the offseason. The book is out on Dylan Cease. He is going to have a bullseye on his back. You came very close to winning the AL Cy Young. We know what you've got. You've got some nasty stuff. I think Cease is only going to get better. He's got the confidence. But hitters might not wait. They might jump all over him right away. I think Cease is going to have to get creative from the beginning in an at-bat. And if enough video has been consumed and Cease hasn't changed much from 2022, I think those hitters are going to be feasting on Dylan Cease early on, and he's going to have to get creative. He's going to have to mix it up, keep guys guessing and off balance. I know he's got some plus stuff, but if hitters kind of can guess what's coming, he can get rattled quickly. So I think that was an interesting blurb there. If Cease can figure it out or has been figured out, something to definitely look at, these next couple weeks, how he feels leaving spring training. You got a feeling he's going to be your opening day starter. in those first few starts, man, he's got his test against the Houston Astros most likely. So interesting stuff from what Cleveland fans are saying about our White Sox. Folks, thank you so very much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We are on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make your second listen the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, on the next episode, I'll continue to bring you the latest happenings from Glendale, Arizona as the White Sox inch closer to opening day. Really appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Borowski. Until next time, go Sox.